So today I have an Apple Powerbook G3 Wallstreet 1 from 1998. And while these computers were fairly common back then, they are not common at all now and worth a lot if you end up selling one to a computer aficionado, because if they know anything about this computer, you might get a lot of money for selling it. This is the Wallstreet 1, like I just said. It features a Motorola PowerPC G3 processor. I'm not sure of how many megahertz it runs at, because I know it was in the megahertz range, and how much RAM it has. I think it had like 256 megabytes. I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on that. I should really look this stuff up on Wikipedia before I start filming. But if you do want to see, I may have a Wikipedia page in the description. So, this computer that I have, I got it from my pastor, and it works pretty well, except there is a hardware and cosmetic problem. So for cosmetic damage, first of all, on the front corner right here, that's our top verdict. A screw holder has come out somehow, and that whole corner right there is kind of loose, sort of. Right here we have one of the expansion modules. I'll go over that in a second. And the floppy drive has a piece missing off of it. If we open it up for a second, there's a crack right there on the side, and that piece of plastic likes to snap up a little bit. And then on the other side, I have this thing sitting on books, so we have two cracks, and then this extremely loose piece of plastic right here on this vent, and then that crack sort of runs right there and makes this little hole over the IR receiver cover, and you can see the IR lights through it. And for cosmetic damage, that's really all there is. And when the computer is powered on, a huge, well, I don't want to call it huge, but a pretty good sized black box appears on the top right corner of the screen. And earlier today I was using this thing, and it started to develop some type of red line beside it, so that's a bit strange. And this latch right here, to open the Wallstreet G3, I'm getting mixed up on my speech here. You pull out this latch, and then you open the computer. Well, this latch here is loose and just keeps springing back out. So basically, it's not holding the computer closed at all. Well, it is now. But as you can see, it has a good tendency of springing right back out. So on this side here, we have the floppy drive expansion bay module. I'm going to go over that in a second. Small vent, Kingston lock. On the back here, we got a microphone and audio ports and the charger connector. And under this door here, which I'm very surprised is intact and still springs up, we got all our other I/O. So right here we got sort of a key combination to reset the processor, an Apple desktop bus connector, a phone/printer port thingy, a 10100 Ethernet connector, which I'm very surprised of, a 30-pin SCSI connector, and one thing I'm the most surprised about, a VGA out. Now I know the later G3 or G4s, I mean to say, have a DVI port, but I didn't know that there were some that had VGA on them. And then right there we got a status light, and it's visible whenever the computer is closed or open, sort of that sort of scheme. They still do that on some computers, I believe. On this side we have the battery expansion module, so that's the computer's battery. You should be able to push this button here and it will show the battery level on these LEDs here, which is pretty neat. However, the battery no longer works. It doesn't charge, so no good. You have to power the computer off the charger, but just to make it look like there's not a gaping hole there, I put it in there. Right here we have what is supposed to be a modem connector. However, this computer did not come with a modem, so it's just a little black spot behind this door here. Right there we got a very small vent, and right here we have two PCMIA connectors. That's really all there is to it. Nothing much to see on the front. Move these books out of the way. And when we open up the computer, we see the Apple logo where it says Macintosh PowerBook G3. Now let's get a bit of a artistic zoom in on the Apple. This camera has a very bad tendency of sliding on my carpet. Look at that. You can screenshot that if you want to. And right there, what do we have? Macintosh PowerBook G3. And then on the inside here, of course, we got our keyboard. If I haven't said it already, I don't think I have. This keyboard is held down by tabs, and the tab here is missing. And the keyboard kind of does like that. On that side, it's just sort of loose. And right there, we got our trackpad. It's just a single button click, I believe. And then there's the actual trackpad right there. I don't know when Apple switched from using scroll wheels to trackpads on their computers. I don't think it was long before the Wallstreet. So with the expansion bays, there are two expansion bays on the front corners of the Wallstreet. On this certain one, we have a 3¼ inch floppy drive. And then on this side, we have our battery module. I just talked about it. And I didn't say, but the floppy drive also functions perfectly. I forgot to zoom back out. Alright, that's better. And you can interchange. The best thing about these expansion modules is that you can interchange them. All you gotta do is pull out this lever right here that appears to be just the front cover, and then you can pull it out and replace it with whatever you want. That's the cool thing about it is, if you wanted 2 batteries for double the battery life, you could do that. If you wanted 2 floppy drives, if you wanted 2 CD drives, well, you could do it. That's the best thing about these expansion modules. And there were some third-party ones sold for these computers. iOmega, at the time, iOmega zip drives were a very popular thing, and iOmega sold zip drive expansion modules for the Wallstreets, which was pretty neat. So you could read your iOmega discs if you had a Wallstreet. And among other third-party things, I think Apple had a CD drive expansion module, which, would that be big enough for a CD drive? And judging by tray size, it would probably fit, even though it would probably be a tight fit. The Dell just blinked because the battery's low, so it probably would fit. So nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and boot this thing up. I have the charger, the typical G3 charger. I believe this is the type of charger that went with a iBook G3 clamshell, because it has that freaky circle Apple 45-watt power adapter. You want to know how much corporate scum Apple is? They don't even label on here the volts and amps that this thing outputs. Probably because if a electricity expert had this computer in the charger stock, they'd be like, oh, I just need some with so-and-so volts and so-and-so amps. And the problem is, Apple doesn't print that on there because so people won't know how many volts or amps it has to find an alternate way to charge it. I mean, so basically, if you wanted to keep on charging it, you'd have to buy a whole new power adapter. Alright, I just booted it up and it just did the chime. And you can probably most likely hear the fan. The fan blew a bearing a long time ago. obviously, and it sounds like a broken vacuum cleaner. So let me adjust the screen here. We got a happy Mac so far. I want to adjust the screen for optimal viewing. Now it's booting up. You can see the black box I was talking about up on that corner. Sort of sucks. Which I believe it is a problem with the screen. I think the screen's going to be going out because, well, first of all, it just did that crazy little effect you saw right there. And this corner up here is kind of starting to fade. So my theory is this corner here faded too, and then eventually just completely went out, causing the black box. And most likely it's going to happen to this corner here, and then eventually one day the whole freaking screen. Sucks. But the good thing is it has VGA, and I can do it on an external port. Port monitor, which is what I have done before actually. And it displayed in pretty high resolution. It wasn't exactly 720p, but it was pretty high resolution, I will say that. So right now we're getting our puzzle pieces. It's starting up. We got our cursor up. It takes this computer forever to start up for some reason. You can see my light reflecting in the screen. Oh yes, I got a very long arm light just for video purposes. Videoing purposes. I apologize for jumbling up my speech. I am a bit loopy. I've been taking allergy medicine all day. Alright, there's our hard drive icon. There's everything else. So now we're on the desktop. And up here we have our hard drive icon and a icon that says browse the internet. Oh, and guess what that is? There we go. Kind of hung up for a second. Stupid computer. Oh, there it is. Guess what the browse the internet icon is? Oh, yes. Microsoft Internet Explorer 5. But I do want to brag about it a little bit because I actually did connect this computer through Ethernet and was actually able to go on the internet and use it. But only through Ethernet. This thing doesn't have an airport expansion or anything. You know, you could probably install one in there if you want. Just say you couldn't find the page because, of course, it's not on the internet. So, this thing has a couple programs in it. So, let's check that out. They're all up in this applications folder here. I'm not sure about documents. Might have some documents. Microsoft user data. It's probably nothing good. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not good to look at, but there's probably nothing that's exciting. Let's look at applications. Got Apple DVD player, Apple Extras folder, which doesn't really have much. It's got our file exchange, Apple script, airport drivers, color sync extras. It's even got iOmega Drive drivers on there. iOmega Drive drivers. Kind of hard to say. The HD spin down control strip. I don't know what that is. But this thing does have your typical Apple control strip on there. Typical of OS 9. I believe the earliest this computer could run was OS 8 or something like that. I believe. And the latest it can run is OS 10.3. And there's a hack that you can do to get it up to OS 10.4. But I'm stuck on OS 9.2, mainly because there's no way I'm able to install OS 10.4. Basically because it doesn't have the proper upgrades. Like to actually get it, you have to upgrade your hard drive. This one has a 4 GB hard drive, Toshiba drive. It's the original one. And like I said, I don't know how much RAM. But I think you have to get it up like 512 megs of RAM and something like a 75 GB hard drive or something like that. So if I wanted to upgrade it, I can't unless I find the proper parts. Network browser, just basically a local network browser. I'm going to try and zoom in here a little bit. And that's a tad better. Still got the glow from my light. That's better. Right here we got Outlook Express 5.02, QuickTime, security stuff, Sherlock 2, simple text, which is a text editor, of course, and then a utilities folder. Oh, and before I forget, Netscape Communicator, which I have no idea what that is. I tried seeing if it was Netscape Navigator, but it was not. I believe there's some stuff in this utilities folder. I keep forgetting this thing isn't like modern laptops where you can double tap to do a double click. You have to do it with the button. Got a disk burner, desktop printer utility, assistance folder, disk copy. It's got a floppy disk icon, so I don't know what it is. Disk first aid. It also has a floppy disk icon on it, so obviously something with floppy disk. It's like a floppy disk and then an ambulance cab on it, like it's a little ambulance. And drive setup, which I have no idea what it is. It has that weird little F looking symbol on it. On the software side, that's pretty much all we got, except for the calculator, which looks exactly like the calculator on the first model of the Lisa, so nothing exciting there. Apple never felt compelled to change it, which, why is it important? So, of course, we got control panels, all that sort of good stuff. Displays in pretty high resolution if you put it on an external monitor, I believe I've already mentioned. You can change the wallpaper. The wallpaper I have, it's showing on the camera right now, but it's not very visible to the human eye just because of the condition of the screen. So let's try and change that. Where is it? Shoot. Appearance, of course. Oh, there go the sniffles again. Okay, was it loading, or is it just gonna sit there? Or, there we go. It's here. What is Blue Dalmatian? Oh God, that don't even show the camera. Bondi Extra Dark. However, I have to change, well, picture, remove picture. Ah, there we go. Let's place it. Set. Oh, cancel. Cancel. This is the pattern. There we go. Even makes the windows show a bit better on camera. Themes. You can get themes. Bubbles. Bubbles. That's pretty neat, but no thank you. On that classic stuff. Let's check out the fonts. Charcoal, Geneva, nothing exciting. Well, on the software side, that's really all we have. If you want to see the internals of this computer, I'm already up to 21 minutes, so I'm not going to do that in this video. However, a few years back, Brandon Bishop, or BBISHOPPCM on YouTube, made a computer video about the PowerBook G3 Wallstreet, and he did a little bit of a teardown into it. I'll have a link to the video in the description. But as for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Yes, I just did the reset key combination.